Here comes the plane. Ooh. If you're like me, and probably the amount of other people in the world who hates heights, you know that I hate airplanes. I have already discussed my displeasure with airplanes multiple times before. I'm not a fan of heights. I'm not a fan of airplanes. That's just how I roll. And today we're going to be looking at a specific type of airline called Ryanair. I never heard of this airline before until I actually talked to an Irish friend of mine, and we got onto the topic of an airline that is in Ireland, and it's one of the worst that's ever to just exist. I think it needs to be the public needs to know. I'm the man of the people. You're also wondering why I'm wearing a hat, and that's because I cut my hair, and guess what? You're not going to find out. No long hair Scott anymore. There's no more long hair Scott. We're done. Like the video though, subscribe. And maybe I might take my hat off. So if you don't know what Ryanair is, it is an airline company that is based in Ireland that I believe usually travels most mainly the United States and other countries as well, not really far out. The airplane itself isn't really like a bad thing. And you know, you're wondering, why am I talking about airplanes even though this isn't an aviation channel? You can look at like the 500 other channels that exist that have to do with aviation. Why are you coming to mine? I don't believe this fucking airline gets enough public display as it should really be getting. I mean, if you looked at Ryanair videos online, which we're going to be watching some today, it's fucking horrendous. So if you don't know who this guy is, this guy's name is Michael O'Leary. He's an Irish businessman, and I believe he's also an actor. He's like one of some kind of famous Irish guy. I don't really know. I don't pay attention to acting, so I wouldn't really know specifically what's up with Mr. O'Leary over here. I've just seen some videos of how awful this fucking airplane is. I couldn't imagine. Like, I've been on a couple airplanes before, and for me it's very sketchy because I don't like turbulence. I just don't like being in planes because, you know, you're so high up in the air and you don't know what's going to happen. That's that kind of feeling, you know. Despite that, I would 100% go on this flight if I was given the chance. I would go on Ryanair's if I was given the chance to. Just to get you an idea as to how bad this actual airline is, I decided to put in, because this is mostly a local flight airline company. They usually don't travel far out in different countries, mostly just based in Europe. That's really all they go. So I put Dublin to Cardiff, Wales. I put one adult for 2 days on a regular value fare, and it's $39.07 for the fucking tickets, which for me, in my experience with airplanes, is fucking cheap, I guess, and how I'm looking at it. I might be wrong. And people who've probably flown before are probably been like, well, you know, if you calculate this and this and this, and if you decide to take the diagonal landscape of the flight and times it by the country and the currency, and I give two shits about that. That's just, for me, it's cheap. I realized how expensive flights are, especially I think nowadays they're actually cheaper, but back then, you know, I would say 10 years ago, they were expensive. And that was my experience with flying. And for one seat for 2-day trip, it sounds pretty cheap for $39 if you ask me. That's how much it takes for me to fill up gas right now. Really, it honestly is $39. I mean, you know what you're getting when you get cheap airline, you know? You know, I don't have to really keep talking about it. I can really just show you what this airline is all about. It's not fun. The people on here have had experiences with the worst flight landings possible. It sounds like a bomb is going off underneath the actual flight, which is something you shouldn't say on a flight. So if you're currently watching this on an airplane, put the phone down. I just can't get over how awful I heard this. And from my old Irish friend I was talking to, he said he had an experience where one person he knew had a fight with a flight attendant, like an actual fist fight. From what I know, I might be completely wrong. Why the fuck, out of all options, if you were a celebrity, you wanted to go with airline company as a nice little side hustle compared to your acting? Why was that the answer? You could have done some kind of regular invention or regular product. You could have put out a drink. If you were Conor McGregor's Irish and he fucking made alcohol, some kind of alcohol. Why couldn't you just do that? Why did you have to go with airlines? If I was famous, I probably would invest my shit in fishing poles. Anyways, let me show you what Ryanair is about. Just listen to how the plane lands. Jesus Christ, man. Not one fucking plane I have ever heard sounds like that. And I've been on I don't think I've ever been on a rough landing for a plane. I've always been relatively smooth. That was probably my best part of the plane rides I had in my days, was the plane actually landing. You had to be a fucking maniac if you want to fly this plane. Let's get down to nitty gritty. Anyone that has had an experience on Ryanair, please let me know in the comments what your experience has been with Ryanair. Has it been good or bad? Because I just want to know, like, honestly, how is this airline company still going? I would have a better survival rate and I would be more likely to live if I was driving a Formula One car directly into a brick wall. I would have probably a better time being dragged by a horse through dirt and mud than flying this fucking plane. The audacity of this fucking flight company to continue to be up here when it sounds like this. That sounds like a fucking bomb. What the fuck? Is it bad piloting or is it the plane being bad? I don't know which is which, and I don't know what's worse. This just doesn't sound right in any of this. All of a sudden, you hear the plane just land and everything just goes... What a smooth landing. Thank you for flying with Ryanair Airlines. I feel like that's the marketing campaign for this airline company, is to make the ride so unbelievably sketchy that people want to fly it just to see if they're going to die. It's so bad when people pull out the phones just for the landing so they can feel the sudden thud of this giant airplane hitting the tarmac. It is ridiculous. Budget airlines make me so just sketched out to fly planes. It's not one of the reasons why I want to fly planes. Like, I want to travel the world, and I know I'm going to have to get on a plane, but it doesn't make it any better when you see the budget ones. I could take a Delta flight any day and be happy with it, but I know damn well that these budget airlines are crashing every day and the news is not reporting about it. Like, look at the state of that fucking plane. You can tell me that the time between takeoffs and landings is going to leave the plane to this state? There it is in bold letters, Ryanair. The door is open. The door is very clearly open. Someone fucking jumped out. Someone jumped out of like 15,000 feet in the air when they saw this shit was going down. If you got a top 10 video labeled about your airline company that has the worst fucking landings, I don't think that's a good look. There's got to be a way. There's no way there can't be a fucking way to fix that to some degree. I mean, right or no? Am I wrong? If anyone's an aviation expert that can just explain to me why I'm wrong, I mean, please just fucking tell me, because I don't know. Like, I am not an expert on aviation. I'm not an expert on any of that. I've only been on the planes a couple times, so don't take my opinion for it. But in terms of how you can look at this airline and see what the hell is happening when it comes to landing, taking off, yada, yada, yada. Like, seriously, like, you could just look at it right there. Like, it's not something I want to go flying on. Here's another image as it is, where apparently 2 Ryanair planes crashed on a runway at a Dublin airport. You see, not even the planes are safe from one another. You know, that's about it. I just kind of wanted to go over this airline company and just really get a whole, outlook on how it operates. And I'm very, very... I wouldn't fly. Actually, you know what? Wrong. I would fly this plane. I'd fly it for the lulz. If I'm ever going to go to Ireland, you know damn well that I'm going to take a flight like this. I mean, for all purposes, I don't think it's extremely bad of an airline, because, at least you're not going to fucking die, right? I guess someone who's flown in Europe, they're probably going to say Ryanair Airline is the worst airline compared to others. I mean, the stuff in America that I've had so far has not been bad. That's just me, though. I mean, they've been pretty all right. I haven't experienced any really bad one. But if there is other airlines that exist somewhere else, just let me know. I'm just very curious as what's the worst fucking airlines that ever exist. Is it Ryanair? Is there another airline that absolutely consists? I just want to find out what's the worst airline to ever happen. And if I ever get a chance to, I'll go fly on every single one of those to experience it firsthand, to give my actual review on every single freaking airline that's out there. We're going to get to the bottom as to what's the worst airline possible. It's just even eyewitness experience. It's just from what I heard when I was talking to my friend, it wasn't the best of experiences he had. He said it was one of the worst. So take that with a grain of salt if you want to. And I mean, maybe you've already had some good times with Ryanair. You probably have a better time. You probably honestly had a better time. And I don't know if the maintenance properly is being checked up on it. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. It just looks like a budget airline. That's just another budget airline. Just go on Delta, fork out the money for it. You'll have a better time. Yeah, so let's find out what the worst airline is out there. Let's figure that out together, because I'm pretty sure there's some that exist. Hey, I'll see you guys next time when I learn how to become a pilot and drive it right into the ocean.